Hey guys, um, my martial arts myths are not meant to offend anyone, but I'm sure they will. And this recent one probably is going to do so. So, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is not the best martial art. In fact, BJJ is overrated. And people are like, oh boy, whatever. You can't do it. Um, I've I've seen it. I've practiced judo, and BJJ is like a, a spicier version of judo, if you want to call it that. But it is his own style. Okay, so I'm not gonna say it's exactly the same as judo, but it does have its roots in it. Um, and uh, Valley Tudo is probably just as good as Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Okay, but that's not my point. The point is that it's overrated because you still need to learn how to punch and kick, okay, to be a well-rounded fighter. And most MMA fighters, to their credit, of course, learn striking and kicking. I've just went over that in a previous video where they learn some mediocre boxing skills, but not far enough to be competent boxers. Um, excuse me. But it's only the BJJ bros that don't want to acknowledge this. Most people in MMA and combat sports acknowledge the limits of their arts, particularly Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. But these BJJ bros will be like, well, most fights end on the ground. Okay. Yeah, but all fights start standing up. So, okay. What is your point? And another thing is how they say, well, I'm a ground fighter. Really? You're a ground fighter? Okay. So, knowing Taekwondo, does that make me an aerial fighter? Like it makes no sense to say you're a ground fighter. Like it just sounds it's something that sounds cool, but doesn't make sense when you analyze it a little bit more. Okay. And the Gracies, for their part, were highly overrated. Although they took part in starting UFC and MMA in general, the fights, I won't say they were rigged, but they were highly made in favor of the Gracies. Um, like the rules were basically for grapplers. The mats were way too thick for strikers to use their footwork and kicking skills. Okay. And there weren't really any rounds until that was later put in, where they put in time constraints and stuff like that. So they could just have you on the ground until you just tire out. It was ridiculous. And then on top of that, the few rules they did have, they would change when they weren't working to their advantage. So when I forget which Gracie it was it Royce, I believe, when he was fighting Ken Shamrock, like sometimes Ken Shamrock will win, sometimes Royce Gracie will win, and sometimes the judges, some were the Gracie family, would change the rules mid fight just to allow the advantage to the Gracie brother fighting. Like it was ridiculous. The Gracie style jiu-jitsu was way overrated, which is where Brazilian jiu-jitsu came from. Although that there's some contention on that. I'll go into that maybe at a later time, if people are interested. But Brazilian jiu-jitsu became more, I guess, combat like to actually fighting other strikers as opposed to just other grapplers. And the Gracies pretty much made their bones beating up capoeira people in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. That's not saying much. Anyone can beat up a capoeira person. It's not an effective martial art. Sorry. Maybe that could be a different video, but yeah, capoeira doing that little Jenga panana way, panana way, panana. No, no, I'm sorry, that's not. Yeah, of course you're gonna beat those people up. So you beat a bunch of them up, and then you claim, "Oh, my style is unbeatable." Okay, whatever. Yeah. So, but Brazilian Jiu Jitsu was awesome. Don't get me wrong. I love the style. I don't practice it, but it's cool. I probably will start learning it in the future once I go back to an MMA gym myself. I haven't had the time yet, but it's not for self defense. It's not essential. Um, Sorry, like for the most part, striking will get you most of the way. If and all you have to do is for a boxer or a kickboxer to be competent fully as a martial artist is that they can just add sprawling to against leg takedowns, and that's all you pretty much need. Whereas a BJJ guy still needs to learn like at least some boxing or kickboxing to be well rounded. But for the most part, striker can just learn sprawling, and they're good. So yeah, BJJ is overrated. It's not the best martial art out there. I'm sorry if people think that, but I'm just a contrarian.